Yutaka is a miserable boy who attends private Keiki High School and meets Tsumiki, a cute and popular werewolf student who captivates everyone's attention. In this world, non-human beings exist. They are half human and half animal, called Genjin, which means mythical person. The present age is considered an era of diversity. Genjin are slowly starting to be recognized and have become a part of human society, including school life. Private Keiki High School is said to have the most Genjin. Yutaka, who is human, also attends that school. He complains about the long travel time from home to school, roughly taking him 2 hours. The reason he chooses to study here even though it's far as hell is because he wants to avoid all his local friends. Not because he doesn't enjoy their company, but because he is too self-conscious about his surroundings. Due to this, he ends up making choices that hurt himself. All he wants is to have fun. But every time he reads the room and acts accordingly, he becomes increasingly unsure of himself. In class, he receives a career choice survey paper from his teacher and is instructed to give it better consideration. At this point, he has no hopes or dreams. He thinks maybe there are people experiencing the same troubles as him in this school, and he hopes to make friends with them. In the locker room, he encounters his Genjin classmate named Tsumiki. Her Genjin type is apparently a werewolf, and the nature and constitution of a werewolf involve transforming into a wolf or having super strength during a full moon. Yutaka believes it must be difficult for her to survive in human society, much harder than it is for him. On the other hand, her hearing must be good too. It seems that Tsumiki is having difficulty opening the locker. Seeing her bending it, Yutaka asks if she is in a bad mood. She replies that she isn't. She says she isn't venting her frustration on the locker. Since her feet are so big, she can't fit her shoes in it. They are her favorite shoes, so she doesn't want to forcefully squeeze into the space as it could damage them. She thought it would be better if she just bends the door. As it is school property, Yutaka demands her to fix it right up. He suggests she put them on top of the lockers and is sure the teachers would understand if she explains the situation. She acknowledges this is a good idea and praises him for being smart. She then attempts to hit him but pauses upon realizing how strong her strength is. She apologizes and reveals she can actually moderate her strength. Yutaka seems nervous when she attempts to hit him again after she has moderated her strength, so seeing him like this she decides not to. He stops her and asks, isn't she going to hit him? He apologizes for being rude to her earlier and reveals the reason he is nervous is that he is strangely sensitive to how he is perceived by others. He clarifies he wasn't scared of her because she is a Genjin. Then, she hits him as he wishes. She says his behavior doesn't bother her. She knows there are people like that, and she understands them. Afterward, they introduce themselves to each other. Tsumiki bids farewell to Yutaka and tells him she will see him in the classroom. Tsumiki is the first Genjin that Yutaka has talked to. Despite having good hearing and super strength, she is a very friendly person. Also, she is extremely popular in school. In class, she is being interrogated by her curious classmates. Learning that she is constantly exposed to curious and friendly eyes hurts Yutaka's stomach just to think about it. He believes this must be extremely painful for her to live like this. One of her male classmates compliments that her shoes are so cute. They are certainly big, about 30 centimeters. Yutaka now understands why her shoes don't fit in the locker. However, that 30 centimeters also include her toenail length. Since she is a werewolf, her toenails are quite large and easily tear through her socks. Seeing how big her feet are, Yutaka can't hold his laughter. Tsumiki herself knows it's hilarious and allows him to take a photo. Those big-size shoes she bought from an online shop. She suggests Yutaka check out the online shop called Everything Store, as it's really cool. That is where she bought the belt that keeps her tail in place. However, it is not okay for her to stay focused on her tail, so having a belt to keep it in place helps her a lot. Also, putting it under pressure isn't good. Since the belt is stretchy, it doesn't hurt her tail. The school has provided a beastman skirt for her too, but she prefers using the belt. Yutaka seems curious about it, and noticing that, Tsumiki allows him to try stretching it, but he nervously refuses and says he just thought it was amazing. Despite being fashionable, Tsumiki seems not to care about her torn socks. She doesn't appear very concerned about her own nature and constitution. Someone asks her if she turns into a wolf during a full moon, and she replies that she doesn't. Her white, long-haired female classmate really wants to see her as a wolf. She says it varies from one person to another. Another female classmate of hers with white short hair wonders if that is true. She expresses concern, as that would be scary if it happens. Despite being a werewolf, Tsumiki doesn't eat human meat, but she loves meat though. Yutaka is afraid that people will think there is a possibility that she eats human meat when she phrases it like that. To avoid people from having a negative opinion about her, he helps her by telling his classmates that she would have been arrested if she ate human meat. The girls now clearly understand that Tsumiki doesn't really eat human meat. Then, the white short-haired girl shows Tsumiki the news of a werewolf with a picture of the full moon. Seeing the full moon causes Tsumiki to howl and gets everyone's attention on her. Her howling sound, even heard by students outside. Some are shocked, and some are amazed to hear her howling for the first time. Tsumiki asks her classmates not to show her something she wasn't prepared for, as she will end up howling. These rumors about her have spread to the other classes. Later, a gray-haired boy from another class asks Tsumiki for her contact info. Since there are a bunch of functions coming up, they would like to create a class group chat. However, the boy isn't even from this class. Despite that, Tsumiki still agrees to give it to him, but she asks to go buy food first. Since Yutaka is in this class, he also gets invited. At the door, Tsumiki is approached by a handsome ignorant vampire Genjin named Moritaka from another class. He also comes here to ask for her contact info. However, Tsumiki refuses and says she is going to buy lunch. Being a handsome student, Moritaka reveals it's extremely rare for him to be asking someone for their contact and demands her to go grab her phone. Tsumiki's expression then changes, and she furiously tells him to get out of her way since he is her obstruction. Seeing Moritaka getting rejected, Tsumiki's male classmates are happy while Yutaka is shocked. He can't believe she said it without hesitation, but he kind of feels bad for Moritaka as well. Suddenly, he receives a message from the group chat to which he got invited. It seems that they are holding a party or something and ask if Yutaka will come. He replies he will be there if he can, and they will hear from him. Seeing the response like this, others are sure he won't come. As Yutaka arranges to go home, Tsumiki suddenly returns dirty. She reveals she went to dig up the sandwich she buried this afternoon. The sandwich she ate for lunch today was so delicious, so she figured she should bury some for the way home. But when she went to dig it up, she got really interested in digging, which is why she became dirty. She prompts Yutaka to be careful, and he says it won't happen to him. He offers to give her a jersey that he hasn't worn, but she refuses and arranges to go home like that. Out of the blue, Yutaka asks Tsumiki how he can become like her. He says he is always concerned about how people see him. Because of that, he fears to speak out or do something. Tsumiki replies that it's simple. She suggests him to write about himself like a dream or something he wants to do. She encourages him that he can do whatever he wants. Since Yutaka was allowed to attend a faraway school, he thought he would turn over a new leaf. He wishes he could just be himself, but he just doesn't understand what that is. He feels like Tsumiki accepting who she is, and he finds that amazing. She reveals that is because she is a Genjin. Genjin are generally different by nature. Because of that, it's easier to come to terms with it since it's inevitable. However, humans are able to adapt, which makes it harder to come to terms with it. She is glad that she is a Genjin because being a human sure is difficult. Yutaka doesn't agree with that. He thinks Genjin have it much harder. It's just that Tsumiki is able to accept it with ease. She reveals she has been this way ever since she was little. Since Yutaka came here for a fresh start, she hopes they can get to know one another better. She offers Yutaka to find his feelings together, but he refuses. He says he will manage on his own. Tsumiki tells him to listen closely and says she appreciates those who accept her like him. Because of that, he is already someone who is important to her. She is sure he chose a faraway school purposely and thinks he hasn't realized it yet. The fact that there are people he doesn't want to meet, and Tsumiki assumes that means he must not like them. She says she will be able to accept easily if they don't match together. She believes there are experiences that can only be had with a Genjin, and asks Yutaka to give her a chance to find his feelings together. She instructs him to open his arms wide, and she goes to hug him. After, she carries him out through the window from the 4th floor all the way to the train station, causing him to get sick. However, he enjoyed it, and that is something he will recall many times. Tsumiki is glad to hear that and arranges to do this again sometime. Then, she approaches and smells him. It's a greeting for Genjin, which means let's get along. After, she farewells to him and leaves for her home. On the train, Yutaka receives a notification from the group chat. Since it annoyed him, he apologizes to them and leaves. Suddenly, he receives another notification, but it's from the online store. Then, another one alerts, which is from Tsumiki who just added him. She sends him a hello sticker. This reminds him about the way she greeted him and gets blushed just to think about it. The next day, Tsumiki finds a letter under her shoes. It was from Yutaka who thanks her for bringing him to the train station yesterday. He also bought her a gift to show his appreciation, which is a pair of socks that she used. In class, Tsumiki wants Yutaka to tell her more about his story from yesterday and invites him to her place. The other 3 students behind them are freaked out to hear that. Then, they drag Yutaka outside to interrogate. They wonder when he became so close to Tsumiki. As Tsumiki's fans, they want him to enlighten them about the relationship he has with her. Yutaka replies that they are just friends. Speaking of that, Tsumiki hasn't invited anyone else who seems to be a friend of hers. They also talk to her quite a bit, but never get an invitation to her place, which is bothering them, and they ask Yutaka to explain. Since Tsumiki is helping him find his feelings, he doesn't know how to explain it in a way that makes sense. Back in class, he thinks maybe it's not a good idea to go to her house because the people who like her wouldn't like it if he does. Come to think of it, he realizes Tsumiki doesn't mind having him over. That is why she suggested it. Suddenly he wonders if there should be some limits, even if they are friends because of the opposite sex. But thinking about it makes Yutaka feel even weirder. Then he decides to turn down her invitation. He tells her it's for the best. Tsumiki is okay with that, but she doesn't seem happy at all. Seeing her expression, Yutaka is bothered by that and tells her he takes back what he said. Her mood suddenly changes, and she hopes to see him on Saturday. However, accepting her invitation also comes with bad consequences. At the arcade, Tsumiki is approached by her classmates who mistake that Yutaka is her boyfriend. She corrects them. He is just a friend. And that makes them realize she treats guys and girls the same way. They think her behavior is beyond normal. The white short-haired girl tells Tsumiki to be careful as she can never tell what is on Yutaka's mind. Tsumiki says she is not worried if Yutaka is trying to hurt her and punches the punching machine to show how strong she is. She receives almost 800 scores and tells her classmates that Yutaka doesn't stand a chance against her. She happily accepts whenever he wants to fight. On Saturday, while waiting for Tsumiki to come pick him up at the train station, Yutaka is afraid that he will do something rude to her without realizing. He tried to research about werewolf behavior, but nothing came up. A bit later, Tsumiki arrives and brings him to her place. He is amazed to see her in casual wear. The place where werewolves live is on the mountain. Climbing the mountain is not Yutaka's thing. He already gets tired after a few steps while Tsumiki is enjoying climbing. This reminds him of when she jumped out of the classroom with ease. He praises her physical ability, which is something else. However, he believes it must be rough for her to take this route since she is a fashionable person. Suddenly, Tsumiki calls Yutaka to look at her dirty clothes stained by paw prints. Even though she is a fashionable person, she doesn't mind getting her clothes dirty or even herself. Yutaka is surprised to see that she got dirt all over. Since this is a mountain, she tells him it's unavoidable. After a while, they arrive at the werewolf's territory. Inside, Yutaka is amazed by its beauty. The houses and decorations are similar to humans. Yutaka never imagined there would be a place like this in the mountains. Tsumiki tells him that wolves dig holes to create rooms to protect themselves. She believes these houses must be the leftover from that. Werewolves also have the same habits. After Genjin started to be recognized, it progressed to the point that they can go outside. Currently, they have water and electricity as well. However, there aren't many children who go outside, even now. A bit later, they arrive at Tsumiki's house. Tsumiki tells Yutaka to make himself at home and allows him to sit on her big toy. The socks that she got from him, she decorates them into her toy's clothes because she would hate to tear them. Yutaka thought it was weird to give her socks, but he's glad that she likes it. Suddenly, Tsumiki's siblings show up to inform her she has set a new record. Tsumiki has 3 siblings such as Itsuki, Natsuki, and Kazuki. Since their big sister was having a guest over, second daughter, Itsuki scolds her little siblings for going out without her permission. Third daughter, Natsuki, who is 9 years old, has broken Tsumiki's record of picking up a big rock at the age of 10. Tsumiki starts crying as she doesn't want to admit defeat and asks Natsuki what her wall climb record is. Natsuki lets Tsumiki measure it herself, and then she starts climbing. It took her 6 seconds to climb to the top, while Tsumiki's record was 5 seconds in 4th grade. She fails to beat Tsumiki's wall climb record. However, Tsumiki hasn't measured her time recently, and Natsuki believes it has gotten worse. As it's Tsumiki's turn, Natsuki is speechless to see how fast she can climb. Kazuki asks Yutaka if he will also climb, and he replies, he is not that athletic. His legs are near their limits because of the climb up here. Itsuki tells Kazuki that climbing is not something humans do. Hearing that, Yutaka also starts climbing because he recalls that he got told to do as the Romans do when in Rome, so he applies that in the werewolves' territory. Then, Natsuki drags him to play with her. After, he gets so tired and is approached by Itsuki. She asks him if Tsumiki is doing well in human society, and he replies, she is doing better than a human. He wonders if there is something Itsuki is worried about. She says since Tsumiki looks more like a human, people here tend to rely on her more. Not all werewolves have the same appearance or characteristics. There are kids who struggle with being accepted. Itsuki is sure that is not a problem for Tsumiki. If she does well, it will give the other children courage. She has always been cheerful on the outside, and Itsuki wonders if she is carrying a heavy burden. Come to think of it, Yutaka recalls when Tsumiki said she wants to cherish those who are okay with her and realizes this means there are people who have a problem with her. He can't believe she is still willing to go outside for the others despite that. He wonders if it's okay for someone like him to be with her. Suddenly, he is approached by Tsumiki. Since he has been digging the same spot over and over, she's curious what is on his mind. He replies that digging is just enjoyable and it's hard to stop doing it. However, Tsumiki knows there is something wrong and tells him it is fine to be honest with her. Also, it will help find his feelings. Then, he asks for her forgiveness. He never knew she took the time to listen to his troubles while carrying such a heavy burden. He has no idea what she went through, but tells her there are many people who not only accept her but have a positive and fond attitude towards her. He suggests her not to force herself to help him as it's not really necessary. Tsumiki replies she is not carrying anything. She isn't living her life outside for the werewolves, but she is doing it to gain control over her sisters. She thought if they are interested in the world outside, she could teach them about it. Since Yutaka's goal is to realize his feelings, acknowledge them, and move forward with determination, she advises him to leave if he doesn't like something, and this principle applies to her as well. They both are allowed to do that only when they are together. Besides, she wouldn't invite someone she needs to be mindful of into her territory, and Yutaka is glad to hear that. Then, she asks him how he is feeling right now. He doesn't say anything and approaches to smell her, which is a greeting of werewolves. He quickly moves his head away and shyly says he hopes they can maintain their relationship. However, he feels so embarrassed to do werewolves greeting. This really surprises Tsumiki and makes her shy. Since Yutaka is human, she tells him he can stick to human greetings. He nervously asks for her forgiveness, and she doesn't mind as she also did it to him. As now, it's time for Yutaka to head home. Tsumiki sends him back to the train station. Natsuki prompts him to come visit them again someday. On the train, he expresses regret for following the Romans' quote, too much, and that regret lingers until Monday.